Hey, wine! Wine for a reason, because I want to look at a classic which is still in print. It's probably got pretty good claim to being the first role-playing game done. En Garde came out kind of sort of the same time as original D&D. Now this was actually done by the team, Game Designers Workshop, that went on to do Traveller. This is a perfectly splendid game, which is all about climbing the greasy pole in the age of the Three Musketeers. It's Louis XIII, Louis XIV actually, time, and you play a gentleman. What I really like is we've got our En Garde on the front. Being in the main, a game of the life and times of a gentleman adventurer and his several companions. So this is flashing rapiers and all that cool stuff. This is the original. It is in print today. Ta-da! You can find this on Amazon, you can find this online. This game is a game kind of part board game, part role-playing game. You take on a role. So the idea is you are a young gentleman of some sort. You generate at the start of the game through dice rolls what your starting social background is. And just like in the Three Musketeers, you pretty much come to Paris. It's a game of social climbing. So what you are trying to do is, I don't know, reach the mighty heights. It's a communal game. It is designed for a group of people to play. You can play it with a bunch of your friends around a table. However, where this game excels is actually in making entire communities. This is a game that was always designed to be something that could be done as play by mail, or in this day and age, play by email. And there are some very big campaigns of this thing going on. It has also been adapted into other settings, so there's kind of Master and Commander, Napoleonic naval ones running around that are all played online. So again, in these wonderful days of COVID, you could just pull this out and run this. An umpire could just do this with no problems and make a whole community. How it makes a whole community? Well, what you do is you've come as a young gentleman and you're trying to sort of climb the greasy pole to get up into higher and higher and higher lofty levels of society. And you do this by accruing these mystical brownie points. You socialize and you ingratiate yourself to higher levels of society, and you win renown and you win repute and you win status. And as you get these status points, when you get to a certain level, you can trash them in and you'll move up into the next social level. You have to get, I think it's 3 times as many points as the social level you're trying to get into. And now you get to work trying to gain a monthly income of points. It has to be a steady income of these points and up you go. You get the points for doing things like joining a regiment. If you join various regiments, you get social points just for being in those regiments. However, those regiments are only open to people of set social levels. The guards do not take any scum. The musketeers, no, you must be from a certain social class to be even allowed in here as a private, let alone as an officer. So you kind of go shopping. You look for different regiments and it's like, okay, this will do this for you, this will do that for you, and this one will get you this many points. And it's got some of these things have like interesting little promotional lines that you can take. So you try and get in, you try and persuade them to let you in. So you do a little dice roll to see if you get in. There's influence. Influence can go to make these dice rolls easier. If you know someone's mistress, they can influence that roll. If you have money, they can influence the roll. All these sorts of things go to work. You get social status from having a mistress. You get social status from conspicuous consumption, living high off the hog, throwing parties and chucking your money to the winds. You get it for being rich. You get it for gambling, and you get it for joining social clubs. One's club gets you a certain status. So turn up, all right, you'll look for these things. Now it's done on a monthly round, which is split into weeks, and each week you do an activity. So what you do is, it's kind of a pre-plotted thing. You plan out week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, what you're doing. You write those down in secret, no one else sees, and then you pass them on to the umpire. If it's electronically done, easy. But the umpire then has a look at this and can just adjudicate them. So it's like, all right, you try and join the Frog and Peach Club. Well, you're within the right social band, you paid the fee, you're in. All right, this gets you this many points. Your next activity, I'm going to be conspicuously gambling at the Frog and Peach Club. You must get some sort of female companionship sometime during the month, otherwise your reputation suffers. And you can turn up to your club at any time you wish for liquid refreshment. You can gamble at the clubs. They have set gambling rules in the rules, but there are caps on how much money you can wager at the different clubs. Some of the very high aristocratic ones, you can literally bet thousands, but the little ones, no. There's also, you can be seen, you can take a mistress to your club so that you get seen going out with someone, so there's your female companionship tick. You can go out, there's a list of potential mistresses that are made. They are rated for things like, do they have something notable about them? Are they beautiful? Are they particularly wealthy? Are they particularly influential? They've got a social level as well. What you want is a mistress that's at a higher social level than you, because you kind of get points for how much above you she is. But that makes it very hard. So you have to really put your effort into it. But so people basically go racing around, shopping for mistresses. But the thing is, if you both turn up on the doorstep of the same mistress in that same week slot, you are now competing for that woman. That is potential cause for a duel. Likewise, if someone is someone's mistress and someone comes around to court her, and you are going out with your mistress in that week, then essentially you've bumped into this guy, in her quarters, or trying to woo her, or strumming guitars outside a window late at night. It's cause for a duel. So that's why you're doing this in secret. And if everyone goes thundering in after the one sort of, this one's beautiful, wealthy, and influential, and all right, everyone's going to go for that one. So maybe you steer away for that one. Maybe you should be more modest. You can gain rank in these regiments. You can also gain all sorts of interesting positions as it gets higher and higher up the scale. You begin to get little things that you can do. Anyone that's done 18th and 17th century French history will know all about venality of office. So there are all these official jobs that you can get, and they all bring some money in with them often. If you're like a tax collector in an area, you reap some money off. If you're an inspector general of cavalry or something, you can go all the way up to trying to be government ministers and things like that, and these give you powers. If you're minister for justice, you can basically issue crackdowns, you can have people arrested, so people will probably start bribing you to make you leave them alone. Likewise, if you end up in charge of cavalry appointments or something like that, people who are coming in and trying to get promotions or get into regiments, they can start maybe wanting to bribe you. On the other hand, you could turn them in for bribing because they're horrible people. So you get this little kind of social interaction going between the players. Vying for positions, competing for positions. If people there are some regiments that have historical enmities, and if you're from Regiment A and it hates Regiment B, and another player is from Regiment B, and you both go to the same club on the same evening, potential for a duel there as well. A fight can break out. And actually, getting in duels gets you social clout. It's got a cute little fencing system. Again, because it's designed for play-by-mail stuff, what you did was you pre-booked your moves. You've got these set moves you can do. You can lunge, you can cut, you can parry, and so on. But what they are is they're a series of steps that you have to take. So they are composed of the actual attack, which is a lunge or a cut or a thrust, and rest steps that you have to take between, and parries. So if you want to do like a lunge, you might have to go rest, lunge, rest, 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 say for instance. You can put rests in anywhere, and a round of combat is 12 of these step boxes. So you look through your list of possibilities and you figure out, I'm facing this guy. He's probably going to go straight for a lunge. So if he did that, it would be like rest, lunge. So I'm going to go rest, and then if he went straight for a lunge, I'm going to go jump back there, so he'll automatically miss. then he'd have to go rest for his lunge. So I have to go rest. Now I do my lunge. Right, yeah, so I'll catch him. So you're trying to do this kind of outguess the other guy. There are different weapons. If you come from a cavalry regiment, you're using like a saber. If you're from the foot, you're using your rapier. And you can have claymores or something if you're from the... there's like a Scottish regiment, the Royal Highland Borderers and these sorts of things. Cutlasses for marine regiments, they have different moves. So simple but kind of a fun and interesting system there, and you can kind of give up at the end of a round, but you pre-program your moves as some kind of comedy to two people standing there going, but again, done for played by mail and for played by email. There are battles. You can go off on campaign. The army basically figures out what regiments are going forth. If you've got a character that is playing one of the ministers who handles that, he can decide which ones happen. If you're in a regiment that is being sent off to the front, you kind of disappear from Paris society. So you don't get to go to clubs and drink and shag mistresses and swing from chandeliers. However, you go off on campaign and you can reap glory from campaign. You can get mentioned in dispatches for your wonderful heroism and all these sorts of things. So you might come back with promotions, and you might come back with status, and you might be a mighty hero, and so it can be quite worthwhile heading off onto campaign. Of course, you can also be killed, but you know, what the hell. The people, meanwhile, behind you might be trying to run off with your mistress, etc. You can also try and beg off on going on campaign. And on it goes. Now, I mean, there are opportunities for a clever umpire, of course, to turn this into more of a role-playing game. Everyone has gone into this looking at that greasy pole, and I'm going to head up and, what the umpire can, of course, do is he can decide that he's going to put intrigue in this, that the dreaded cardinal is actually attempting to overthrow the power of the king here. So certain regiments, he's getting his own people in, and he's going to set certain people against things, and there's going to be plots, and he's going to drag you in. You can do a whole Three Musketeers role-playing game with an umpire that's bringing in a plot. And that's where this really excels, when your expectations of this quite simple mechanical game are turned over into an actual full-on role-playing game. And this game has survived since 1975. There's never been a day when this game hasn't been played by hundreds of people over all those decades. It is in play today. There are many games running out there. Look, if you've never played it, get hold of this. Like I said, you'll find it on Amazon. You can, there we go, engarde.com.uk. These are the guys that are running it at the moment. Just get hold of it, have a look at it. It's got some wonderful systems. Even if you don't want to play it, it's got some really great social systems and social climbing systems, and it shows you this wonderful kind of state organization, which would actually roll over really, really easily into other role-playing games. If you're doing D&D or something like that, and you want a kingdom that's got some actual structure to it, knit the structure straight out of this, like, boom, done. And you can kind of put a whole social layer into the game. So it's a great resource, as well as just a damn fine game. Really, if you haven't played it, give it a shot. If you used to play it, it's still a living game. Get back and play it, you bastards. Fantastic piece of work. I'm so glad that it's been robust enough, particularly since it's one of the very earliest designs ever done. The fact that these guys created something that had such good bones, I think, is a real tribute to their design ability. So this was Daryl Haney and good old Frank Chadwick, Lauren Wiseman, all names that you'll recognize from later game designs, but in many ways this is their masterpiece. It's survived and it's beautiful. Give it a shot.